My name is Amanda Kapischke, and I'm here with Angela Anderson.
Hey, everyone.
And we're the founders of Incubate to Innovate, a company that works with schools and organizations to incubate ideas, innovate strategies, and create pathways to become better learning communities.
And aren't we all seeking to become better learning communities in our workplaces and in our spheres of influence? And that's because what's required in today's world are truly unique solutions and unique ways of thinking. So here at Eye to Eye, we are a team of strategists and change makers who partner with organizations to teach them how to evolve their creative problem-solving skills. And we truly believe that every day is an opportunity for growth and to create immense joy.
So welcome to the Incubate to Innovate podcast, a place for us to equip and inspire leaders to create a culture of authentic learning and sustainable innovation. In our first episode, Angela and I are excited to share with you the story of how Incubate to Innovate came to be.
Yeah.
So it actually started over 12 years ago. Angela and I were teaching in the same school together. Yeah. We were teaching partners. We became close friends. Mm-hmm. Angela actually had all three of my own kids in third grade during that duration that we were together. But I specifically remember one day she's popped into my classroom to check on me. Mm-hmm. And she could tell that I just had a lot on my mind. I think you could just read it. And you said, what's up? What's happening? And I just shared with her that I was feeling as if my own three children, who were all in middle school at the time, they knew how to do school well, but I was starting to worry about whether or not they were going to be able to navigate life well. And I was feeling like what was happening in the classroom was maybe not always adequately preparing them for the complex and rapidly changing world that we live in today. Yeah. And so then that, of course, made me contemplate and reflect about what I was actually doing in the classroom with my own students.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I feel like even though at that specific time, I did not have children of my own quite yet, I was experiencing similar feelings as I was looking at my students in my classroom at the time and feeling like, we want to be able to equip our students with the skills that they need to go out in today's world. And sometimes the world calls those soft skills like tenacity or grit or problem solving, creativity, but nothing about that is soft, right? Those are actually really hard skills to be cultivating in our students. And we kind of started this conversation of what might it look like if we started to do teaching and learning a bit differently in our classroom, where we could invite maybe more exploratory and experiential learning for our students.
Yeah. And so we sat down together and started to map out some of the things that were actually frustrating us in education and holding us back in the classroom. Mm-hmm. And we realized that we both had a very predictable approach to how we were framing up our learning experiences and what we were doing in the classroom. And we started calling that the predictability zone. Like we were heavily relying on old teaching methods. And we realized that we needed to figure out how to shift ourselves to what we call the possibility zone, where all of those soft skills can emerge for a student. Yeah. And so that was kind of the question of the hour. It was like, okay, we know where we want to get to, but what's going to be the vehicle that's going to drive us there?
Mm-hmm. And in that possibility zone, that's where collaboration is happening and students feel safe to ask questions. They can grow through their failure. They can develop a growth mindset. And that's really what we were wanting to achieve with our students. And so at the time, we both started diving into research. Remember, Amanda? And best practice. And we would come in the morning and be like, oh my gosh, I have to show you this link, or I have to show you what I discovered the night before. And we started to fall in love with something called design thinking. And really what design thinking is methodology to do creative problem solving in the classroom that actually takes content knowledge and skills and helps our students to be able to connect it to real, relevant, applicable work opportunities for students. And we kind of looked at each other and we're like, what might it look like if we could curate a process that could work not only in our own elementary classrooms, but it could work across an entire school or across an entire district, pre-K-12.
Yeah. And I'm not going to speak for Angela, but I think we both had to have some honest conversations too about our mindset.
Totally.
So for me, I just had to share with Angela one day that I had felt like I was my fixed mindset was getting in the way of utilizing that process, bringing it to the students. And I realized that trying to be in the possibility zone and do an exceptional job with that was just not going to work for me because I had a fixed mindset. And so I first had to make a commitment to overcoming that, figuring out how could I do that? Because it has to start with the teacher first, right? We have so much we want to bring to our students, but we're the catalyst for that kind of change and transformation in the classroom. And so for me, as I started using the ChangeMaker Innovation Process, just little by little, I always say incremental steps, right? In the classroom, I realized that the creative problem solving aspect of that was starting to shift my mindset. But I also sat down and I thought, if I am going to do teaching and learning in this possibility zone, I need to write my own mindsets. Like it's going to have to start there. And so I did do that. And I started utilizing it first for myself. And then I realized that as I started to use the language in the classroom, transformation was happening for the students as well. So the 6 ChangeMaker mindsets are: embrace exploration, lead with empathy, grow through failure, which is kind of a big one for me personally, pivot with perseverance, create a win-win solution, and collaborate and connect. And the collaborate and connect mindset is special because those are also modes of our distinctive ChangeMaker innovation process. And honestly, I can say that I went from having a fixed mindset in a couple of years to being able to develop a growth mindset just by using the process and the mindsets in the classroom. And then, of course, the joy of watching what that meant for students as well.
Because we want to give our students more time to be doing hands-on, exploratory, and experiential learning. And here's why. Amanda, have you ever asked a young person in your life how their day was? How do they typically respond to you?
Fine. Good.
Okay. But on those rare occasions when you get to ask a young person in their life how their day was and they can't stop talking to you about it, it's because they are able, that day they were able to make something or embrace exploration or collaborate with their peers or experience deep learning in new impactful ways. And the reason why that kind of learning is so amazing for our students is because when you get a chance to make, it's truly magical for our young people, and they will never forget what they learned through that experience because it's a part of our humanness, right? We all love to make things. Think about any hobby you have or an interest that you have. Every spring when the snow finally melts in Minnesota and I get to get out in my garden and get my hands dirty into the soil, it kind of is like, I feel like I'm a new person. And that's what happens for our kids too, when they get to get their hands dirty and make something and connect their content knowledge and their skills to something bigger than just themselves. The impact is lasting for them.
So, I mean, I feel like when you think about our students in the classroom and all that we were noticing, we had a responsibility to kind of sit down and say, do we keep this for just us, keep it for ourselves? Because we always tell our students, your ideas matter. You can steward them into the world for greater good. You certainly can keep it for yourself. And so, we decided to spend some time thinking about what could this look like if we could bring this newfound joy that we were experiencing in the classroom. How could we bring this to other ed leaders? How could we bring this to other schools and districts? And of course, as educators, as a background, we had never started a business before, but I invited Angela over to my house one day, and we were in my home office, and we had 3M poster papers and Post-it notes everywhere, just allowing ourselves to ideate without limits and dream about what this could look like. And I remember us both kind of looking at each other and thinking, oh my goodness, are we supposed to start our own business? And Angela sweetly said to me, well, if we did that, what would we call it? And then out of my mouth came Incubate to Innovate. I mean, we're all about incubating ideas. We love thinking about how that leads to impactful innovation and how that has the power to bring positive change and transformation to an entire district or school. And I guess in that moment, the Incubate to Innovate story kind of officially began in that moment. And we began doing all the research to figure out how we could make it happen.
And that was such a joy, and it required some risk taking from us. It required embracing exploration and growing through our failure. And it really was us being like, this is a dream of ours. We want to not just keep this for ourselves, but to bring it to others and to support teachers along the way. And we really stepped into our no small dream in that moment, right?
Yeah. And it was hard. It was hard work because we kept our teaching job for a few years to start experimenting with all of this and seeing if it could be something sustainable that we would be able to actually make happen. And so it was, it took a lot of tenacity and grit during the beginning. And then eventually when we saw that this is truly working, like it's working and people are interested, we said goodbye to our regular teaching gig where we weren't working with students anymore. And of course we missed them like crazy, but now we have the opportunity to work with teachers and to teach teachers. And I think, it's just been an honor and a privilege to do that.
And I'll never forget the moment. It was when I was still teaching, but we were prayerful and realizing that it was maybe time for us to step out and do eye-to-eye full time. But I'll never forget this moment. I was using the ChangeMaker Innovation Process with my students in the classroom. And it was kind of one of those more open-ended days where the students had access to the makerspace and we were walking through it in like a more lighthearted but purposeful time. And I had this 4th grade precious young girl, and I will never forget her. And she wanted to use her skills in fabrication, and she wanted to design something for me as her teacher. And I said, yeah, honey, you go ahead, design something. And so she led with empathy to create something that was meaningful and personal to me. And she chose to create this coffee cozy. She sewed it and then attached flowers. It was pink, my favorite color. And then she created this coffee cozy for me to wrap around my coffee cup. And, when we use the ChangeMaker Innovation Process with students in the classroom, we, as much as possible, and we know time is such a hot commodity in the classroom, but as often as we can, we want to give students the opportunity to share about their work and why they created what they did. And she got up and she said that she created that coffee cozy because she knew my favorite color was pink, that I wear colorful like pattern tops, and then I always have coffee, and I use that coffee cozy
yes, you do.
every day for the rest of that school year. And I still have it because I feel like for me, that moment when I realized all of the skills that were being cultivated in my students because of how they were able to use the process, it was that moment where I was like, we got to do this. We're going to do this thing and we're going to bring it to teachers and journey alongside them as they seek to make teaching and learning more exploratory and more experiential for their students in the classroom, because it's really impactful and it's life-changing for our young people.
Yeah, I mean, I think after that day, we decided we needed to call it the ChangeMaker Innovation Process because there are a lot of design thinking processes out there that people can Google and look up that take you through a process where you end up with something that you do create. But ours is distinctive, right? We added additional modes of collaboration and connection because we want to teach students how to steward what they've been given, right? They can create something and keep it for themselves, but there might be an opportunity to be creating something that can have impact in the world. And so it's that part is really what I think brings a lot of the joy, while we're also providing the quote unquote soft skills that we're missing. When I was thinking about how my own kids at home might only know how to do school well, but you want them to do life well, but it also is teaching them so much more at the same time.
And so often when we share about who we are and the change and transformation that we can see happening in the classroom through this work, a lot of people are like, well, how? Tell me how. And so at Eye to Eye, we really love to come alongside our schools and our districts and partner with them on the journey. We are not one and done PD vendors. In fact, we are the complete opposite. We want to journey with teachers. We want to provide instructional coaching, support, resources, and a scaffolded approach to PD that takes them deeper over time, where we are meeting them where they're at. Whether you have spent your entire teaching career in that predictability zone that Amanda was talking about, or you are more comfortable in the possibility zone, it doesn't matter. We want to meet you where you're at and equip you with what you need to bring about more collaboration and creativity and exploration in your classroom. And I think we do a really good job of lowering teacher resistance and creating the safety for that to happen in the classroom.
Yeah, I don't think we knew that we were going to be good at that in the beginning when we said we're going to go out and provide these really unique inquiry-based professional development experiences. But no one really, we've been in so many PD sessions in my 27 years of being an educator that were just not fun. And I didn't really learn anything where,
right?
we knew how we wanted to show up, right? We're fellow educators on a journey. We're often in a t-shirt and jeans and tennies, and we come in and we just invite them to be on the journey with us, because we're still on the journey. It's not like you and I have arrived.
No,
we
never.
still have so much to learn.
Yep.
And when they can see that there's safety to just be who they are and that we can meet them right where they're at, I think that makes a tremendous difference.
And it's really all about honing our craft, right? Because like Amanda mentioned, as teachers, we won't ever arrive, because the world is changing fast and the needs of students are changing. And it's just an amazing privilege to be thinking about how to be setting up our learning experiences and even the environment that we're creating in the classroom, so that innovation can happen for our students and for our young people, so that they're feeling equipped to go out into the world and be a part of the positive change that we know needs to happen.
Yeah, I mean, we've shared quite a bit about our own personal, professional journey in this. And obviously we're still learning and growing, but it might be fun to share a few stories just to cast a vision of maybe what this has looked like in some schools.
For sure.
I can maybe start with one. So, one of my favorite stories to tell is actually a private school story. Maybe we can do one private and one public.
Yeah.
And we had a fearless head of school that came to us and just said, I really want transformation to happen at my school. And I know it can't be top down. It has to be bottom up.
Yeah.
And I really want to equip my teachers with a different type of pedagogy to be using in the classroom. Because many of them at the school, while they were the most precious people, were relying on old methods that were not really adequately preparing the students. And so Angela and I took the approach of running a certain amount of cohorts of teachers over a 5-year period. So every single teacher, every para, every leader, no matter what the role in the school, all went through a series of professional development experiences with us. And the transformation that happened there was just so incredible. It did not look like the same place. It didn't feel like the same place. And the school ended up actually having to rebrand itself, because the way teaching and learning was happening was just completely different. And it's obviously one of our favorite places to go, because it's fun to see our fingerprints on all of that. And we do have the honor and privilege of going back every August, because there's new teachers that are hired and they go ahead and train them in that direction. So that's one of our stories.
Yeah, it's so fun. And how exciting to think about teachers receiving the support and the resources that they need to do that type of teaching and learning. It's so fun. It makes me think of another client of ours, and this is a local public school district who, they were on the verge of some really amazing positive change in their district, and they had the ability to rebuild and to think about their physical learning spaces and how to redesign those in more innovative and collaborative and joy-filled ways. And while that all is wonderful, I think the superintendent realized, but we got to make sure that teaching and learning is going to change to meet this new space. And so they are partnering with us to do long-term professional development, where we are equipping their teachers and their paras and actually all of the personnel within the district to do more exploratory and experiential learning using the ChangeMaker Innovation Process and our set of mindsets. And it's been really neat to watch the change that has been happening there. And we always say that teachers are the living curriculum, right? So they are the ones that not only does the physical space matter, but these teachers and what they're bringing to students really matters too. And so they just have been so committed to evolving fearlessly and stepping into that possibility zone. And it's been such a joy to partner with them in that work. It's been so fun.
Yeah, and I think, it's been fun to really be authentic and admit kind of where we started, because I feel like we've seen the transformation happen for ourselves in the schools that we've been working in, and then as we're partnering with other schools.
Right.
And I just feel like if I can overcome my fixed mindset and the transformation can happen for me, I know that it can happen for anyone who wants to step into this type of work.
Absolutely.
So thanks for investing your time to listen to our founder's story today. We're so appreciative.
Yeah, we are. And we would sure love to help you evolve fearlessly and revitalize your passion for education. At Eye to Eye, we are a team of strategists and change makers who partner with organizations to teach them how to evolve their creative problem-solving skills. And we truly believe that together we can innovate new strategies to form growth mindsets, incubate ideas for more impactful teaching methods, and really create paths for learning that encourage exploration and curiosity and innovation. And so if you would like to connect with us, we would love that. We would just invite you to hop into the show notes and click on the link to sign up for a discovery call with our team. And we would love to hear your story and explore ways that we could partner together, whether that is through professional development or instructional coaching and support. Maybe it's building out a makerspace at your school. The options are truly vast, and we would love the opportunity to chat with you about how to personalize this experience for your school or for your district. And we will also put up some free resources for you all in the show notes as well. We'll link our different versions of our ChangeMaker Innovation Process for pre-K through 12 and also our ChangeMaker Mindsets. Feel free to sign up for our newsletter, and we're just grateful for the opportunity to spend some time with you today. So thanks for listening in, and so blessings to you all and to your work.